it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Friday, December 27th. So we have the moon in Scorpio energy here for the bulk of the beginning of the day, let's say. We are going to see the moon go void, of course, at 9:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will be locking into Sagittarius energy at 2:48 p.m., again, Eastern Standard Time. So let's talk about the transition from Scorpio energy to Sagittarius energy. It's always a welcomed one because, of course, we're doing a lot of shadow work under the influence of that Scorpio energy. We are definitely feeling a lot of darker thoughts, darker feelings very intensely in order for us to realize and put into perspective what's blocking us, what's holding us back, what's restricting us from moving on and moving forward, where the change, the transformation needs to take place, not only in our soul space, but in our heart space and head space as well. We've been going through a restructuring, reframing process, if you will, adopting the best outcome, the best perspective available to us. And of course, the Sag energy acts as the light at the end of the very dark tunnel that Scorpio energy always is. And the minute that we move into Sag energy, of course, not only are we standing in a new light, but we're standing in a new truth. We're standing in a new perspective. We have a deeper understanding of the, let's call it, domino effect energies that need to happen in order to put us in a situation to actually make some changes. Now, lucky for us, the Sag energy is very positive, very optimistic. Thank you, Jupiter, the ruler over Sag energy, for that. There's always a little bit of growth in our soul, in our spirit with this particular transition. So it's definitely going to work in our favor. But we do have a couple of very tension-filled aspects popping off, especially kicking the day off under that moon and Scorpio influence. And then when we shift into the Sag energy, the second part of the day is definitely a lot brighter, a lot easier to navigate. So with all of that being said, there are 9 different aspects taking place here today. 8 of them are going to involve the moon. The moon, still in the Scorpio energy, going to get into the boxing ring, square off, create tension and conflict, highlighting the growing pains with Venus. Venus being the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money. Of course, she's in Aquarius energy. Scorpio energy, Aquarius energy are both fixed signs. This fixed energy, of course, wants to stabilize, wants to really just kind of find a certain peace, a certain contentment in our situation, in our circumstances. But of course, growth does not happen in that particular arena, and we are definitely in a place where growth and evolvement is necessary. So the moon is our heart space. Venus, of course, ruling over relationships, over finances, over our day-to-day life. Of course, in this Aquarius energy, we're thinking about the future, on what it is that we want to build and create in our day-to-day lives, and we're breaking it down into smaller, manageable pieces so that we can have power and control over adjusting, improving certain details in the present moment here and now that will align us with the desired outcome. Now, of course, it doesn't feel good. We're going to have a struggle, and this particular struggle may actually trigger some fears, doubts, insecurities, not only within us, but project that energy onto those that we love. Again, relationship dynamics definitely get the squeeze under this particular square. And it's going to highlight for us where it is that we can't continue doing the same old, where we have to make adjustments and improvements in order to actually create, again, the most positive desired outcome. So one of the greatest tension-filled aspects that we have going on here today is between Mercury and Saturn. So first of all, Mercury is the ruler of the mental plane, ruling over information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves. Of course, he's in Sagittarius energy, still very much under the influence of his post-retrograde shadow period. We have Mercury getting into the boxing ring, squaring off, creating tension and conflict with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, ruling over roles, responsibilities, systems, structures, foundations. And of course, he is in Pisces energy, helping us to dissolve the physical structures, the boundaries, the limitations, the restrictions of our physical realm, and helping us to dissolve the false belief system. Again, the old version of self was under a false belief system, whether it be low self-worth, low self-esteem, low self-confidence, maybe, again, just trying to build and create a realm and reality that to that particular version of self was undeserving. But of course, this new version of self is online. We are much more in resonance with our higher self than ever before. And now, Mr. Saturn in this Pisces energy, again, trying to wrap up a karmic cycle of the last 30 years, definitely working overtime in this last little hurrah, if you will, in order to dissolve the physical structures and the belief systems that had built those physical structures, removing them, eliminating them from our physical realm so that we can move on, move forward, build something new. So here's the thing. We have the Sag energy and Pisces energy. They're both mutable signs, thus the square. We're going through growing pains. But this is actually the third and final interaction between these two. I'm going to take you back to November 12th. We had our very first interaction between these two. We had our second interaction December 6th. Mercury was retrograde at that time, and we had Mars actually retrograde on that particular day. And then here we have the third and final interaction. And let me just say that, this isn't fun. It doesn't feel good. It brings on a negative ass narrative. It means that we are kind of down on ourselves, criticizing, judging, if you will. It's going to illuminate the problems in our lives in order for us to fix it. And at this particular point in time, we're kind of swinging back to situations and circumstances that popped off early November. We have a lot more information and details now, a different perspective now. We are essentially cleaning up the mess that began back in November, pre-Mercury retrograde, got highlighted at that peak climactic point, let's call it December 6th, where problems, situations, and circumstances definitely were in our face. And now we're revisiting that. So yes, we could be a little bit grumpy, a little bit negative Nancy, if you will. We could be speaking fear into some of the good things that we really shouldn't be kind of corrupting at this point. And again, that negative narrative takes over, and we could definitely be kind of focusing on all the things that aren't working, all the things that we don't like, instead of being focused on the attitude of gratitude for all the things that are going well and all the things that we really enjoy. So there's like this doom and gloom energy where we're expecting the worst, where we're waiting for the ball to drop. And of course, that never feels good. However, puts us in a different situation, a different perspective, if you will, to see where we could make some changes. But this particular change is going to be illuminated on what it is that we need to sacrifice here in the short term in order to make long-term gains and long-term improvements. So we follow that particular interaction with the moon in Scorpio directly opposing and sitting across from Uranus, the Great Awakener, who is retrograde in Taurus energy. And of course, Uranus's retrograde in Taurus energy is supposed to be highlighting for us where it is that the old version of self had built old connections, old routines, old physical structures, old ways of living that, of course, we're no longer in resonance now that the new version of self is online, grounded, anchored in, and operating this particular karmic chapter. This opposition is going to put us at odds with our damn selves. There's going to be a tug of war in our inner realm. Usually, if this was a positive interaction, we'd be gaining some clarity, some insight on what we have to do, what we have to break away from, where it is that we have options and opportunities to make some progress. But instead, especially under that influence between Mercury and Saturn, we're just not in the best mind space, not in the best heart space, not in the best mood, not in the best attitude. So we're actually creating a little bit of anxiety, creating a little bit more drama than there needs to be, and kind of trying to come up with some justifications, if you will, on why it is that we don't need to change, why it is that we shouldn't even try. And of course, this too shall pass, but we have to sit in the darkness in order to gain a brand new appreciation for the light. Now, the moon in Scorpio is going to make a positive interaction with Chiron, the wounded healer, who is retrograde in this Aries energy, helping us to bring this new version of self online. Now, lucky for us, this is a positive interaction. So instead of kind of ripping the scabs off the wounds, we're focused on the wounds that we've been able to actually heal, the growth that we've been able to have, the, let's call it, options and opportunities to kind of boss up, if you will. And we are being put in a position right now where we're kind of coming out of that funk, coming out of the darkness. We're focused on all the things that are working, focused on our strength, focused on our ability to grow, to change, to transform when, again, we realize that we cannot continue doing the same things that we've been doing and settle for what it is that we've already got. The last aspect that the moon in Scorpio is going to be making before going void, of course, is a beautiful one. It's a trine with Neptune, who, of course, is in his rulership in Pisces energy. This is water on water action. This is going to wash over us, cleanse us, purify us of that junk, of that gunk that we definitely kick the day off in. And then it's going to kind of refresh our soul and our spirit, remind us of what it is that we actually want to build in our lives, remind us of all of the things that are worthy of actually fighting for. Our intuition is coming online. We are going to be able to receive downloads of intuitive insight on what we have to do, what we need to pursue, where we need to change, how we can transform in order for us to rise up and rise above. And of course, at 9:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon is going to go void, of course. We sit in that void until 2:48 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We shift into that Sagittarius energy, and we literally sit in that Sagittarius transition for about 2 hours. The very first aspect that the moon in Sag is going to make is a positive interaction with Pluto, the great transformer, who of course is in Aquarius energy. We love this because it's boss up energy. It's empowerment energy. It is a positive vibe for us to be focused on the future and have, again, hope, faith, trust that we have what it takes to achieve our desired outcome. Yes, there's an intensity here, but it's intensity in all the right ways. We're feeling good. We're feeling optimistic. We're feeling positive. And that is a major shift from how it is that we started the day. The moon in Sag then going to trine, which is a beautiful interaction, with that North Node in Aries energy. This is a beautiful interaction because, of course, a trine means that we are working with like-minded elements. This is fire on fire. Fire helps us to burn away the heavier thoughts, the heavier emotions. Then it kind of gives us a spark, a fire, a flame to reignite passion, excitement, hope, faith, optimism. And where the North Node is involved, this is about our future. This is about the path, the direction that we need to get on in order to align with our mission, with our purpose. This is encouraging us to keep that positive mindset, to understand that we may not have all of the details ironed out. We may not know what is kind of, waiting us around the corner, but walking in faith, walking in trust is going to align us with where it is that we need to be. We follow up this particular interaction with a beautiful, beautiful pop-off between the moon in Sagittarius and Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, even our anger. He's currently retrograde, so his ass is on the bench, reassessing, reanalyzing our passions, our desires, the path, the direction that we want to take, the action that is needed in order to actually get there, but no moves are actually being made at this time in the physical external realm. All moves are in the inner realm. Now, again, this is fire on fire action. So again, we're motivated, we're determined, we're hell-bent, focused on the goal, on the target that excites us the most. Mars in the Leo energy, the heart and soul of the zodiac. We are getting heart aligned. We are getting a little bit of a pep kind of going in our step, if you will, to stay focused on the desired outcome. Now, the last thing that we have going on here today is just a mini step back, meaning we had all of these good vibes, especially seeing, as the moon moved into Sagittarius, a lot of positivity, a lot of hype, a lot of optimism really taking over. So it only makes sense that, of course, the dark force energies push us backwards. It's not a huge setback. It's just a minor aspect between the moon and Sag and Chiron, that wounded healer. So just as we were feeling good and optimistic and confident that we're able to kind of bring to life the goals, the visions, the dreams that we're getting excited about, suddenly we take a step back and we start kind of second guessing. We start kind of picking ourselves apart, beating ourselves up, breaking ourselves down, not really sure what kind of is waiting for us in the days ahead. And we're letting that uncertainty actually create a little bit more fear. Technically speaking, we have to look at this as an exploration, as an adventure, as a quest. Not knowing is something we're going to have to get very comfortable with in this next year. And so this particular energy, although it does have us kind of second guessing and clamming up a bit, this is going to be a good life lesson to realize that as long as we are in touch with our heart space, in touch with our higher selves, we don't necessarily need to know all of the steps and what awaits us. We just have to walk forward in faith.